to the Greater Kitsap Chambers. Second Eds and Issues for this election cycle. Today we are here with the candidates for Kitsap County Commissioner District number 3. I believe it's actually called the Central District. With us this morning are Justin, Naomi, Axel, Jeff, and Katie. I'm going to stick to first names because that makes it quick, because we have a slate of folks here today. We also have a lot of questions, so I apologize if we don't get to them all today, but we are just trying to get to the important issues so that we can see who makes it to the November ballot. So thank you for being with us here today. The format, each candidate will get a 3-minute opening statement, after which then I have collected some questions as well as have some prearranged. Each candidate will get 1 minute to answer that question. If a question is directed to a specific candidate, we can do a challenge card as well. So you guys can talk about the challenge card. You can use that to get 1 additional minute. And then each candidate will have a 2-minute closing statement. While you are answering and using your opening closing statements, you will get some direction from the back table back there. When you see that, that means you have 30 seconds.
30 seconds for the opening.
30 seconds for the opening and
10 seconds for your 1-minute responses and 20 seconds for your closing.
there you have that. So, and then when you see the red card, you're out of time. We're cordial here, so please just finish that sentence at the time, and we'll move on to the next question. Candidates, any questions before we begin? Audience, we thank you for being in attendance today. We do ask that you keep any noise down today and keep the attention up here. If you have any additional questions, you can come place them right here, and I will try and get them into the night. Without further ado, we'll start with our opening statements, and we'll start with Josh.
Do you want to fix the mic first? I did. Well, good morning. My name is Joshua Hinman. I appreciate the opportunity to be here this morning. I'm running for Kitsap County Commissioner District 3 because I love the community that we live in. My wife and I bought a home to retire in here. We wanted to see our forever place. And so, as you look around the community, there's no shortage of problems to be addressed, whether it's homelessness, addiction, mental health. There's no challenges as far as people needing a place to live and wanting a place to live, but not being able to afford it. The cost of inflation, the cost of housing is rising faster than wages, and it's created a community where it's hard for some people to be able to live. And so, as I evaluated the different ways in which you can be involved, there's a choice you can make. You can sit on the sidelines, or you can get involved and be part of leadership. So I've chosen to get involved and be a part of solutions. My whole life has actually been preparing for this moment. As I look back, I realized, growing up, I grew up with a World War II vet grandfather who taught me the value of hard work and being involved in a community. I can remember most weekends in my life growing up, we would spend serving or working at somebody's house that we knew, whether it was a widow or someone who was elderly, just needed help. And so we would go to their house and serve. And then as I've gotten through college, I ended up moving into the inner city in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I spent 2 years living in the projects there, working in community development, started a credit union, started community development programs, coached little kids, and helped them figure out a pathway out of poverty and into jobs and into a thriving life. And so I have just a strong history throughout my entire life of community involvement. I've sat on many boards, many of them in our community. I sat on the Kitsap Community Foundation or Kitsap Community Resources Board for 5 years, was on the executive committee, and have a really good understanding of the needs and the issues that they were working on to help bring a thriving life to every person in Kitsap. They are at that point in time when I sat on the board, were recognized as one of the top community development action agencies in all of Kitsap County, or in all of state of Washington, and they help direct a lot of the work that we do with people in our community who need it. I'm a business leader. I spent the first 10 years out of college leading a big business, and then the next 12 years I dedicated my life to nonprofits. Much of that was in the foster care system. as the director of a foster care agency and a youth outreach program. During that time, we started a youth center in Bremerton called the 801 for students at Bremerton High School. We spent time in low-income neighborhoods like Millwood and West Park and taught kids how to read. I'm a part of a nonprofit now where we've raised over $700,000 to fight sex trafficking around the world and locally, because we believe it's one of the greatest issues in our day. We run a website at Christmas called Outrageous Christmas that's just simply a peer-to-peer website to put people who have a need in touch with people who have something to give. Because I believe it's important for our community to come together. It's why the website that I did for my campaign was called Together Kitsap. I don't think that we're in a season anymore that one person has the answers. It's going to take all of us to be involved, so that's why.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you all for being here today with us. First, I want to acknowledge that we are living on the lands of the Ancestral Tribe of the Squamish Tribe, and I am truly grateful for the opportunity to be here with you all and being able to work for our community. I am a person of Filipino, Mexican, Indigenous American background. I am a trans woman of color, and I have come from a place of privilege, coming originally from Southern California, Orange County. I grew up in a Republican household with my roots, and within me, the true nature and value of being a citizen of the United States is our value of being able to vote. She instilled in me the civic duty of always standing up for yours right, not only for yourself, but for your entire community. And that's what's led me to run for Kitsap County Commissioner District 3. I work as a certified career counselor here at Kitsap Mental Health, and I work hand in hand on the front line to help me in assisting our neighbors and our community members who have lived life and have experienced life and have experienced so many hardships and so many barriers into trying to get back to the quality of life that we all deserve. I'm running because I myself have experienced homelessness. I myself have experienced mental health issues. And I myself am indicative of the success of what can happen when a community comes together, when we rise up together and we support one another. Irrespective of our differences, we are all connected. And what happens to one of us affects all of us. Running a cross-country track all through high school and college, went to Pacific University, I was taught and instilled that value of teamwork, of always doing the best because we are only as strong as our team. As a certified peer counselor working in mental health, I understand the barriers that a lot of our neighbors and community members face in trying to receive services here in the community, because we are a rural community and we're often overlooked by other politics, by legislature. I've dedicated my life the past couple of years, the past 6 years, to making sure that we do receive the adequate funding, so that we make sure that we do have low, affordable income housing. Because what's affordable to us is not affordable to a lot of other people here that call us on. I've recognized that I work with people that have lived, that were born and raised here in Kitsap County, and for one way or another, one reason or another, they're having to move out of this county, out of the neighborhoods that they live in. And that to me is not right. That is the reason why I decided to run, because irrespective of anyone here who have well-meaning intentions, we keep elected officials that are out of touch with the most difficult diabetes of our most vulnerable populations. I work with elder people who can't get around this town because of public transportation. We don't have buses running on Sundays. They have to use their walkers and their canes and their electric wheelchairs on unraveled, unpaved roads. I work with kids who can't receive services here in county because the organizations aren't here as well. And you have to go to either peers or King County. I'm running because I know that we can do more together. And the only way that we move forward is if we come together as well.
Thank you. Axel.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Axel John, and I'm running for Kitsap County Commissioner District 3. I'm a 30-year plus resident here in Kitsap County, which time I've had the opportunity to live in all 3 districts. And I currently reside in Seabed. I'm the son of 2 immigrant parents who came to America for freedom and to be able to make America a better place, and became naturalized citizens. I did my schooling here. I held a degree in business administration. I spent most of my career in the private sector, managing hundreds of people in multi-million-dollar budgets instead of taking numerous awards. I'm currently an elected. I serve as a commissioner for the Port of Bremerton for the same central district. I'm currently the president of the commission. In addition to that, I have another role. I serve as president of the Puget Sound Regional Authority and Council on Economic Development Board, representing the 4 counties. Here's home. During my time at court, we've delivered many accomplishments. A few of them that we can list off. Founding of the Divorce Coalition. For the first time in history of Kitsap, we delivered $74 million to identify the issues of the safety concerns of divorce. Added infrastructure to the port, which allowed Amazon to bring 300 additional jobs. Tripled the number of jobs at the airport into the thousands to our industrial center. Brought airlift northwest to the national airport. First airlift operation on the peninsula. Make significant sustainability improvements to the airport. We convert 100% LED lighting, improving energy efficiency as well as safety. Added over 50 units of affordable workforce housing. Most recently, I delivered $30,000 to the community to assist them in the restoration of their 100-year-old community center that was recently destroyed. And all this was done over the past 10 years, running a balanced budget without increasing their property taxes. Today, we face many significant challenges at Kitsap. The unhoused, homelessness is an epidemic level. Crime, all-time high. Public safety is at risk. Growth. Kitsap's experienced record growth. We need to address growth in such a way as to respect our environment, maintain the quality way of life of the home. Developers are saddled with overregulation, adding to the already high cost of housing. As your county commissioner, I will address these issues, work strategically and effectively while listening and addressing our community's needs. I will be decisive, and we will take on these challenges and these topics in an effort to keep this at Kitsap.
Thank you. Jeff?
Good morning. Thank you to the Greater Kitsap Chamber for sponsoring this event today. Thank you all for coming. The Greater Kitsap Chamber is an example of what we need to be doing as a county. We are breaking down the barriers that have traditionally exist, and we are combining forces to bring better things to the county. That's exactly what I've done as your elected coroner over the last 3.5 years. I was elected on the platform of actually eliminating my job and professionalizing that office. And I was able to deliver on that promise. You all approved through the voter initiative last fall to convert to a medical examiner system. That system is already in place. We are finishing up the last of the administrative changes this year. So come December 31st, we will be officially a medical examiner county with a professionally trained and qualified doctor of forensic pathology running that office. In the process, there were also many things within that office that needed fixing, improving, or replacing. And if you would go to my website to take a look, many of those changes are listed out, and we're still conducting more of them today. We're still operating under the same budget that we had when I took office in 2019, although our office in the last 2 years has seen a 60% rise in the number of jurisdictional deaths that we're investigating in Kitsap County. And we've almost doubled the number of cases that are requiring autopsy. We were able to plan ahead for that. We met that challenge. Our neighbors in Thurston County kept going with the same old system. They ended up expending almost $400,000 last year for autopsy services alone. So we're still able to provide the service. We're actually saving money, and we're working for the benefit of Kitsap County and also providing for the benefit of our neighbors, which benefits us all. So a little bit of background for me. I grew up over in Eastern Washington running a small family sawmill with my family. I learned how to drive on a 1968 B model Mack logging truck. So I come from very humble means, working in a small community where everybody had to work together or nobody was making it. So Kitsap County brings great promise and great resource. I'm very honored to be here, and thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Katie?
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share with you today. I'm seeking the office of Kitsap County Commissioner, District number 3, because I care deeply about Kitsap and our future. I have lived here for over 30 years, and I feel it's the best place to raise a family. and I want others to have that same opportunity. Our family has been in Kitsap for 5 generations with deep ties to the Chicago. And I also understand the uniqueness of the many communities that make up Kitsap. Because like Axel, I've lived in many of them. I lived from Bainbridge Island, Manchester, Paulsbo, Silverdale, and Chico. I've worked in nonprofits and in education for over 30 years. I'm currently the executive director of Leadership Kitsap, which is our community civic leadership program. And through that, I've had the unique opportunity to work with our community's public, private, and nonprofit community leaders. I also have this real broad sense of how our community works and also what's going on in our community, as well as relationships with many of the people that are making our community work and the great place that it is. And so through this, I've also I've had the opportunity to really create this strong network of community leaders that I look forward to continuing to work with. I taught many years at Olympic College. I'm a strong believer in that education is the means to break down barriers and to better your way of life. I helped open Bainbridge Island Museum of Art and helped raise the $15 million to bring this incredible community resource to our area, to our region. I served as the museum's communications and community outreach director. I have extensive community service. I've served on many boards and lent my time to many nonprofits, including just completing my 6-year term as a Kitsap Regional Library trustee. When I see a need, I work to find solutions. Our community faces many challenges and opportunities, as I mentioned, managed growth, affordable housing, public safety, and we all are experiencing the stretched workforce right now. I have the experience needed to bring people together, to create solutions to these issues, and to ensure that the decision-making process is transparent and inclusive. I really care about Kitsap County. I want to work with you. The past 2 years has changed everything. We're not going back. So it's time for a fresh perspective and an opportunity to work together to create a positive future for Kitsap.
Thank you each for your opening statement today. We have a list of questions, so we'll just dive straight in. Josh will be first up, and I'm going to combine 2 of these. I might have to do that throughout here because there's a large number of candidates here today. So I'm going to put the first 2 together because if I don't always start with the same question, I'll get in trouble by the most important person in my life, my wife. So she likes to ask, why should people vote for you? I feel like you gave us some of that to begin with. So I'm going to combine it with, additionally, what are some of your proudest accomplishments?
I believe people should vote for me because we don't need more politicians to continue to enter into the fray and be in leadership. We need people who are proven leaders in business and private sector and nonprofit to bring those skills into government. I've not met a single person that's asking for more taxes or more government regulation. Nobody. But what they do want is real solutions to the biggest problems in our community. My experience in nonprofit, working with people who are homeless, in addiction, mental health, trying to find housing for students that come out of foster care, things like that. I have a lot of experience in business. So combining that business experience in the private sector, nonprofit leadership, with government that we don't want to get bigger, I think is the only way to craft actionable solutions that our community needs to solve the biggest problems. And so my proudest accomplishments, I would say, as a part of building the 801 Center, I mentioned that we built that debt-free in Kitsap County for people who live in this community, who donated to it to bring to this community. I helped over 220 kids in foster care. And my time's up.
Naomi.
It just sneaks up on it, doesn't it? The reason why I actually vote for me is for the fact that I'm the only person of color up here. I'm the only person that works in mental health, substance use. I'm the only person that experiences homelessness. I'm also the only person here that has actually worked in this community to ensure that our community members get the respect right from there. I'm the board president of the United States of Washington. I'm also our Disability Rights Washington, the Office of Recovery Partnership, Washington Recovery Alliance. So I'm a part of a lot of nonprofit, even national boards. Like, for example, this upcoming July, I will be talking at learn and understand our evidence-based practice of housing first model. That is what I'm most excited about and really proud of is the fact that the value of housing first, that everyone deserves a home so that we can have the opportunity to work on whatever difficulties they have encounter, whether that be mental health, experiences with substance use, experiences with domestic violence, or any of those other difficulties, yet met at where they're at.
Thank you. Axel?
Thank you. Well, to begin with, I'll tell you, I bring my business acumen to the position. I ran for court commissioner because my taxes were too high. And if you go back and look at my track record, I put my business hat on, I put my business history, my academics in the business community to work, and we have done great things for this community. I'm a politician. I come from private enterprise over 30 plus years, as you know, and I will continue to bring that to the county, and we need to have that type of leadership because today we don't have that leadership in the county. We don't have people leading our government that are from a business strong background that live the same as the rest of us every single day, trying to make ends meet and keep our taxes down and run tight budgets. So I'm committed to do that.
Thank you. Jeff?
You should vote for me because I am proven action oriented. I don't like to do a whole lot of talking and committee forming. We like to see action. We know what our problems are. We need to be working on the solutions and actually implementing those solutions. So my biggest accomplishment, the one that I'm most proud of, is getting Kitsap County modernized in their medical examiner system. We're actually employing a doctor. There's going to be a professional running a professionally based office there because I work forward from action. We did so many other accomplishments in that office. When I took office, we were actually using two computer-based programs that didn't talk to each other and make paper-based reports that sat on a shelf until they were finished. We're now all computer-based. Everything is in the cloud, and it was at no cost to the citizens of Kitsap County.
Thank you. Katie?
Thank you. People should vote for me because I am a seasoned executive in the nonprofit sector. I helped build and grow organizations. I served as the board and on the board as well as president of the Kitsap Regional Library. And one of the proudest things is actually opening the Silverdale Library. It was a decades-long effort, as well as Kingston Library. I'm an expert in creating civic collaboration and engagement. I am most proud of helping to founding LIFT, Kitsap Women's Leadership Network, which is we hold quarterly virtual gatherings to address issues that are most important to Kitsap's women leaders. You should also vote for me because I offer a fresh perspective, and I look forward to offering my experience and connections to work with commissioners. And because finally, one of my proudest accomplishments is raising 3 amazing sons, all 3 which are husbands.
Thank you. Next question. This time we begin with Leon. How do you define economic development, and what is your plan for economic development in Kitsap County?
How I define economic development is the fact that everyone has a meaning and sense of purpose within the community. Oftentimes we relegate people to set standards and expectations and ask them to fit molds that they cannot and will not fit in. For me, economic development is making sure that we have equitable lens in every single decision that we do, so that way our community members that are working outside the markets have an opportunity to share their experience and how decisions will be affecting their life. Economic development for me is making sure that we have equitable public transportation and that we're also helping small businesses be able to be viable in this ever expanding crisis of the world that we live in. So it's making sure that we support our own businesses, our small businesses, our community members that call Kitsap and depend on us for the livelihood that they desire to have quality life.
Thank you. Axel?
Thanks, John. Definition of economic development is for us as a region to make it applicable for businesses whether it be small and large, to come and do business in Kitsap. We need to take the roadblocks down. We need to assist companies and businesses in not only growth and development, but also in relocating to this region should they desire to do so. We need to provide the opportunity, we need to provide the infrastructure, and we need to take the regulations out of the way that oftentimes government puts up, which restricts growth and restricts business development.
Thank you. Jeff?
And economic development is providing a platform that allows for great diversity and resiliency in the business community. Infrastructure is a huge part of that, and infrastructure is not building infrastructure to meet today's needs. Infrastructure is working with the people in the community that are actually doing the work. Our developers, our realtors, our business people, projecting out where we're going to be and actually building for where we're going to be. I keep using the Highway 16 interchange at I-5 as an example. When they started that project 20 years ago, it was to meet the needs of the traffic flow 20 years ago. When it's built, it's already outdated. We need to break that cycle. We need to start having some forward thinking and some forward looking and bringing the community together to accomplish what we're going to need, not what we need right now.
Thank you. Katie?
Economic development is defined as investing in our community to enhance our quality of life. Part of that, especially in our region, is sustaining our relationship, a good relationship with the Navy, which is the #1 economic driver in Kitsap. I also believe we have this really great opportunity to invest in tourism. From my experience working at the art museum, I know that tourism dollars are the best dollars because people come and visit our region and spend their money, and we don't have to support systems for that. And also it's great for us, and we have those great opportunities here as well. So people visit, spend money, and then return home. I also believe a big piece of the puzzle for economic development in our community is investing in education, and the great resource we have is college as well.
Thank you, Katie. Josh?
I think economic development is creating an environment where businesses can thrive, the environment is well cared for, and that you empower community members to be able to afford houses, that they have wages that they're livable. I think some of the things that we need in our community, we need vision for Silverdale. We don't have one, but you can tell it, drive around with a big box community. There's an opportunity to create more of a walkable community with mixed use high density housing that's close to resources and availability for transportation alongside shops. One of the things that I think could really help Kitsap County is bringing the trade school to Kitsap. If you're a trade worker today, you have to go to Renton to get trained. The only opportunities for a high school student going to West Hills, and they can get trained there. But if you get out of the Navy or you get out of the workforce, out of high school, and you want to go into trades, which everybody in our community who works in the trades can't find enough workers, that then downflows to more expensive housing. It then puts into people not being able to get things built and done at Kitsap. So one of the actionable ways to help bring economic development for us is to bring a trade school here in partnership with Olympic College to be able to provide more jobs.
Thank you. Next question. This time we begin with Axel. What do you see as the largest challenges facing small business today? Again, what do you see as the largest challenges facing small business today? Axel.
Thanks for the question, John. Small business today are still recovering from the 2 years of COVID shutdown and restricted business. Small business is actually the backbone of our entire community here. Yes, the Navy may be one of the biggest economic drivers, but the small businesses are the ones that feed your families, the ones that take care of and create other jobs in our community. So the biggest challenges are obviously it's regulation, it's taxation. You either have taxes, you have labor and industry taxes, you have health and welfare taxes. They will induce the high level small business owners. I've met with many small business owners, and those are the top 4 issues. They also, again, we need to have economics and economic drivers besides the Navy. And without those key anchors driving our economy, our small businesses will not survive. So we also need to support those supportive businesses, such as Navy and the Border Guard.
Thank you. Jeff?
Small businesses are the backbone of any community. They do provide the diversity. They also provide the resiliency, and they encourage development and innovation. In order to continue to stimulate that, we do need to reduce the amount of regulation and taxation, the amount of money that they are spending on things that aren't producing. They need to be able to operate profitably. They don't need the amount of government oversight and input that a larger corporation would. They do have to manage themselves because that's what they depend on for their own survival. They are self-managing, they are the drivers of our community, and they bring so much more diversity, which makes our community so much more resilient. We need to support them and encourage them.
Thank you. Katie?
Can you repeat it one more time, John?
Yes. What do you see as the largest challenges facing small business today?
So, as we mentioned, I do feel that small businesses are what brings the life to our communities, the diversity and the opportunity, and especially the opportunity to be entrepreneurs in our community. Right now, biggest challenge when I'm talking to business owners really is the workforce. I serve on Olympic College's organizational leadership and resource management advisory committee, and we're really trying to work with the college to come up with some solutions for workforce development, because as also was mentioned, the work with the trades, opportunities for high school students, as well as college students to really have a diversity opportunities right here in Kitsap County. So I feel the biggest challenge right now is in the workforce development.
Thank you. Josh?
The biggest challenge is facing small business. I agree with overregulation and employees. I have a lot of friends in small business. I've been a small business coach for the last 10 years and helped a lot of small businesses in Kitsap figure out systems and structures and hire employees and training and development to help them grow. And in that process, there's never been a time in our history where people have had more trouble finding an employee and training an employee. It's the cost to actually get a new employee into your business and working is way more expensive. The cost of training that employee is up, and then the cost of that employee to live in our community is up. And so a lot of that comes back to regulation. Some of the recently passed the low carbon fuel standard act that's going to estimate. They say in Washington State that estimates about 50 cents a gallon. It's going to go up when it's fully implemented. I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm paying too much at the gas pump already, so I don't really want more. Organized theft. So we now are no longer prosecuting people who steal from a small business. And so you have small business owners who have theft occurring. You go to Home Depot, you can literally watch people walk out with tools in their hand. We have to fix those types of things if we want small businesses to thrive.
I would also have to agree with workforce development. It's surprising and shocking what happens when people get their basic needs met. When people have an affordable job that they can then afford their housing, we should stop shocked and surprised what that does for the community. For me, it's all about recognizing that I work at a nonprofit and I see my own coworkers because of the opportunity that they have is non-existent. Whether that be through the rising cost of home living here in the county, or whether it be the speculative wages of growth. For us to be able to assist small businesses, it's really able to invest back into the services because they are such an integral and important part in the health and management of our community. So making sure that we develop the workforce and making sure that we also connect with West Sound Tech, which I haven't heard anyone say, as well as the internship program, and also giving them the resources to be able to be more flexible when crises like this happen.
Thank you. Next question falls along some of the same lines as some answer. Jeff, we'll start with you. Many business owners are expressing frustration with finding employees. What ideas do you think the county can implement to help?
Workforce training is a huge deal, and we need to bring back the working within the organized labor to bring the journeyman and the apprentice program back so that we're actually training these people on the job. We're building experience from experience and through experience so that we can actually augment our workforce. We can give people that want to come into the workforce the opportunity to work in those trades and learn those trades and actually benefit from the experience of people that have come before. We've gone full circle. We tried, that all worked out before, and when I started coming into the workforce, we started making a bigger stress on a formalized education. So we had a bunch of people that got a formalized education but had no practical experience when they came out. We need to come back full circle so that we are still working with the formalized education for that base knowledge, but also utilizing experience to train the workforce.
Thank you. Katie? Absolutely. Many business owners are expressing frustration with finding employees. What ideas do you think the county can implement to help?
Thank you. So actually, I spoke with an HR professional at Kitsap County yesterday and talking just about this issue about how we can help with bringing forward more workforce. And sounds like something that really needs to start at the high school level. I've been involved with AVID program, which is really about supporting students going on to college, but there seems to be that there could be a similar program to work with students, encourage the trades, and show them the opportunities that are available here, as well as summer hires that can work side by side as a sort of an apprenticeship program that they can see a pathway to serving in the trade, serving in public works, and as well as the need for officers as well. Like right now, I know working with sheriffs that we're down 35 people in the sheriff's office, so other opportunities so that students see the opportunities ahead of them.
Thank you. Josh?
Yeah, the estimates say by 2044, we're gonna have 70,000 more people that live in Kitsap County, and we're gonna need 40,000 more jobs. One of the ways that we need to be able to empower our community to get workers is we're gonna have to fix the transportation and infrastructure. We don't have the infrastructure currently set up today to be able to take 70,000 more people in and then employ them in the jobs. I think one of the reasons I connected with Mayor Becky Erickson on bringing a trade school to Kitsap, as just a community member, have already started to move forward on that idea because I think it's something that's a tangible way to bring actionable jobs to Kitsap. We have to be investing into our high schools. Everybody's talked about workforce development. I was on the board of KCR that runs the workforce development program and invested into that. That is something in the county budget. As I served on that committee for the last 3 years, that is something the county budget currently funds. And so they do help doing that. So more workforce development in our community that will bring opportunities for people to work. I think you have to have an affordable place to live if you want to get people to attract people to work here. And so we have to figure out how to have housing that is affordable for people in our community.
Thank you, Josh. Leon?
Yeah, like everyone else said here, as well as Donna for Kitsap, I've actually laid out a plan of how this can happen. It's a three-pronged issue, and it requires all of us to come together and make sure that we advocate for appropriate public transportation and infrastructure. Like I said, we don't have bus systems on Sunday, people work on Sunday. That themselves guarantees their quality of life and to be able to progress and proceed into higher levels of employment that they're looking for. Another portion of that is being able to expand the definition of success, expanding the avenues and access to be able to even tap into these opportunities that are already out there, which will include, again, making sure that we let people know that you don't have to have a college degree to be successful. You can be a tradesperson and have a trades job, being a caregiver, being part of the Washington State Fair, which are important to our own economy and being able to be a part of this community. So there are other ways that we can be more open and more proactive in including people that may not fit the common steps that we want to fit.
Thank you. Yes.
Restate the question, please.
Yes. Some believe that many business owners are expressing frustration with finding employees. What ideas do you think the county can implement to help?
That's a pretty broad question. It's not very specific, John, but I'll try to address it best I can. Currently, the county is a partner with the Limited Workforce Consortium, of which one of the commissioners sit on. My suggestion on the county level is that the county needs to expand its cooperation and work with the consortium, and we need to partner that consortium with employers who are in need of employees, and they need to determine the employment needs. The employment climate has changed. Zoom and computer meetings have changed the entire climate of how people go to work. We recently launched an employee that got to stay home 5 days a week and make 25% more revenue than in the office. And so those are the kind of things we need to address. Employers need to be flexible with the needs of employment and address the needs of the employee. Currently, I have worked and have been working for 2 years with UTI, the Technical Institute, to create a campus for skilled labor. You know, I hear a lot of things we should do this, but we're on the process of it.
Thank you. Next question. Looks like we start with Kate. Kate, Kitsap County faces a severe housing shortage. A recent study from Eco Northwest shows we will need as many as 25,000 new units by 2036. How will you ensure Kitsap County meets that need?
We are facing a huge housing crisis, and my solution would be to build more in areas that are already planned for density, to encourage incentives for multi-family housing, encourage more middle housing with tax incentives, or maybe front of the line permitting for those middle housing for the cottage areas where you can have cottages or duplexes on single family lots, expand that. I also encourage upzoning in areas near transit. Bremerton's a great example of this with the upzoning near the ferries, but also there's opportunity in areas next to parking rights where we can do this as well, beyond transportation lines. And we just have the opportunity to create solutions for non-productive urban land. We look at the vast area we're right here next to us with all the asphalt here. I'm thinking of the mall. We have great opportunities for non-productive urban land.
Josh.
Yeah, we're walking into the 2024 comprehensive plan update. It's a great opportunity for us to invest in the infrastructure and housing opportunities in our community. We need triplexes for duplexes. We need community transportation at the core of where resources are. They say that a bus right now gets up every 20 minutes in order to actually build a community that can support itself. You need bus transportation going every 15 minutes. So we need to be able to tighten that timeline and work with Kitsap Transit. We need to have buses that run on the weekend, which has been mentioned already. Attainable housing, that's a better word than affordable housing. Affordable housing is actually a legal definition, but attainable housing means that a shipyard worker can buy a house that they can get into. The most actionable plan that I have seen and that I want to move forward with is prioritizing developers who are getting permits for large development, get them their permit within 30 days, get it to a hearing examiner. As a result, they're going to save hundreds of thousands of dollars in the cost of money, because it currently takes them 3 years to get a permit. And then on the back of that, you tell them they have to give 20 or 30% of the homes that have to be sold at a $350,000 or $400,000 price, and it has to be sold to an owner-occupied person.
Thank you, Josh. Naomi.
As a person who rides public transportation because I don't own a car, as a person who rents at a local affordable subsidized apartment, this issue in itself is very near and dear to my heart. I have experienced homelessness. People nowadays who are out experiencing homelessness right now have full-time jobs. Public transportation, Josh said it runs every 20 minutes, in certain parts it runs every hour or maybe every 2 hours. So there are a lot of barriers that people don't understand because they've never experienced that through that lens or experience. For me, it's being able to upzone places and ADUs, making sure that we're creating middle income housing through cottages, also making sure that we are investing and following through with the solutions that we already have in place. We have tiny homes just sitting out in the lot in Port Orchard, just waiting to be used and utilized, and they're still there, and they've been there for the past 2 years. There's no reason why we can't overcome the stigmatization of homelessness and creating these solutions that will make an impact to our community.
Excellent.
Thank you. Will someone please pass the water?
Yes, we'll get you some more. Thank you.
Thanks. We have a growing need in housing. There's no question about that. There's a lot of growth on the horizon. You see that on the hill here on the block. But to answer the question directly, we need to review density zoning in the urban areas, which also can utilize the support of the amenities. So you can't build housing out in the middle of nowhere, you gotta have amenities, transportation, shopping, to support that. We need to reduce impact fees, and we need to reduce the process of permitting, we need to streamline that to help the developers to promote building and housing. We also need to provide tax incremental financing. Multifamily tax incremental has already been utilized, but we need to make it easier to use. We utilize HUD support system to make construction more feasible. We also need to streamline the ADU process. Right now, it's very difficult to do an ADU in the county, it's much easier in the city. Also including through new markets tax credits. So all this together is kind of a big gap, but we need to take all those things.
Thank you. Jeff?
So three-person elected board is the wrong place to be evaluating where we need to be building and how we need to be building. We have professionals in this county that make their living selling real estate, developing real estate, and building homes. They know where we have buildable problems. They need to be involved when we are addressing our zoning and our urban growth areas. They need to help us to establish where we can build, and also not just where we're meeting today's needs, where we're looking for in the future, where we're going to be in 2036. We should have been building for that 10 years ago. We need to start building that today. We need to get the professionals and people that do this for a living involved so that we can move forward and have not only the housing, but the amenities and the services that go along with it.
Next question. Put it off as long as I could, but we couldn't do a District 3 debate. We're going back to Josh without it. As Commissioner of District 3, during your term, would you support the Corporation of Silverdale, and why?
I think it's inevitable for Silverdale to become a city. If the writing's on the wall, it's gonna happen. As long as Silverdale does not have an identity or does not have a county commission that is prioritizing its needs over the needs of the rest of the county, it's going to be a struggle. People are gonna complain, they're gonna be upset, they're gonna push for a corporation. If we want to not have them incorporate, which would be a huge loss of tax revenue for the county, we need to come in with vision and opportunity of how Silverdale can actually have an identity. Currently, right now, it's a big box community. People don't really go there unless they need to shop. It's not someplace you think, oh, I want to raise my family down there. And so we need to either bring an identity or let them incorporate. But standing in the middle between the two isn't going to bring a solution, and it's only going to bring more community frustration. When you're in Silverdale and you recognize I live right there, I pay my taxes there. The reality is if I call a Kitsap sheriff, it's still going to take a long time for them to get to my house. And so that those issues where if I could call a Silverdale police force and they could be there in 90 seconds, those are the things that will move them to incorporation. So we better fix it if we don't want that to happen.
Thank you, Josh. Naomi?
I also believe that Silverdale is heading towards incorporation, and I believe that for us to be able to do that, we need to respect the community's voice, whichever one they decide. And that is also making sure that we support that transition if the other date for it to happen. Up until now, however, county commissioners have that say to support Silverdale in making sure that it's using the appropriate services and providing their needs as and services that are as in fact I just commercial etc. That's Silverdale. We need to be able to support our community members and making sure that any work that we do enact and support is for everyone that calls Silverdale.
Thank you. Axel?
Thank you. So the question was, what during my term, would I support the corporation Silverdale?
And why?
And why? Well, I think first thing we need to know is that the county relies on 80% of its tax income from Silverdale. So until the county can become self-sufficient and transition to be sustainable, we're not in a position as a region to have that become a city. Once that happens, Silverdale will then become its own tax district. As growth continues and people continue to expand in Silverdale, there will be a period of time, but I do not see it during my tenure.
Thank you, Axel. Jeff?
Silverdale has tried several times to incorporate, and it always comes back to a couple of issues, which are representation and finances. And it's going to be a huge blow to the county if Silverdale does incorporate, and Silverdale wants to be appropriately represented at the county level of government. The balance to that, I feel, is to, all right, I'm gonna put it out there. It's time for Kitsap County to develop a charter, elect the board of freemen, and get a county charter so that we have a 5-person elected board rather than a 3, so that we take away the 2-person supermajority, and we can allow better representation for not only just Silverdale, but all of the other unincorporated areas of Kitsap County as well.
Thank you, John. Katie?
Well, during a 4-year term, I do not think that I would support incorporating yet. I do feel it's inevitable in the future, but right now, Silverdale cannot, our community cannot afford it, our taxpayers cannot afford to incorporate, and the county itself cannot afford for us, for Silverdale to incorporate. But I do think in planning for the future, we need to think about that. And we reserve land for a city hall and start planning for it. So although I wouldn't support it immediately, I do think it's eventual, and that we do need to begin to plan for that.
Thank you. Next question, Naomi. 2 years ago, the state of Washington made changes to the Highway 304, Highway 3 exchange out of Primaries. This is still the largest point of congestion in Kitsap County. While the Ghost Coalition is working for a change, how can you tackle this in the near term?
More public transportation, that is the future. It's making sure that we invest in our community and making sure that there's public transportation so people can then have the opportunity to choose to ride public transportation rather than drive their cars. This is also a smart decision to make in terms of the future because it also has an impact on our climate and on our environment. The more that we're able to invest in public transportation, the more opportunities there are for other people to be able to get around the community better. And that way, roads are not going to fix the problem. Studies have shown the more that we build roads, the more traffic there is. There has to be other ways of looking at this issue and be more proactive and making sure that we recognize that 100,000 people are expected to move to the Kitsap Peninsula in the next 10 years. So where are we going to put extra roads? That's not going to happen. What we need to do is invest in public transportation and make it a viable form of way of getting across this town.
Thank you. Axel. I'm gonna do my best because I put it together. 2 years ago, the state of Washington made changes to the Highway 304, Highway 3 exchange out of Primaries. It is still the largest point of congestion in our county. While the Ghost Coalition is working on a long-term solution, how will you tackle this in the near term?
Well, let me just say that we're not going to reduce traffic. Again, yes, public transportation, transit has done a fabulous job with our Navy Yard workers and getting them to and from work through the transit, work the driver program. In addition to that, another thing that we could look at, looking at the Navy closely, would be shift changes. Perhaps we don't have 2 shift changes where they're all at once, perhaps they're varied, which would then vary the traffic in and out of the city of Bremerton. That would be several options to look at. But once again, we're not going to reduce traffic, but we can increase some.
Thank you. Jeff?
Mass transportation is obviously something that's being tried. We're utilizing it to the best of our ability. There's no short-term fix for the congestion, of course. That is, we have geographic boundaries there. We have private property that road, if anyone would have had some forward thinking 50 years ago, would not be there. It would be someplace where it could have expanded. So that's where we need to focus our energy, is actually getting that roadway widened. It's going to take a lot of time and a lot of expense just because of where it's located and everything that's built up around it. So anything that's short-term fix is going to be, again, a short-term thing. we've put a couple of Band-Aids on it already. They prove effective for a couple of months and then we're right back where we started from. So it's time to quit focusing on Band-Aids for that point of condition and start looking at very serious long-term fix.
Thank you. Katie?
Worst. I think everyone thinks about it. It's like, oh my gosh, I've sat in traffic there many a time. So there is no real short-term fix. I think some of the things that we can already mention, invest in transportation, as well as the ferry service, increase the ferry service between Port Orchard and Bremerton. Possibly expand that in the mosquito fleet. Also, broadband access, so people don't necessarily have to go into work if they're able to work from home. Expanding that, looking at 4-day work weeks has been popular. So just, I think our community has the opportunity to work with business owners to be creative about how we're going to and from work. And as we plan for the future and as we get that fixed, of course.
Thank you. Josh?
I don't know that I can add much. I think we all have the exact same issue. The reality is, the shipyard already staggers their employment and their shift schedule. So doing more in that isn't going to fix the problem. They've already tried that. The public transportation is going to be the #1 way to solve it. Continue to get more of the worker driver buses. And I agree with the rest of the folks on the panel. Long range planning has been the Achilles heel of Kitsap County. And if we don't start to look where we're going to be in 20 years, not where we're going to be in 12 months, we're going to continue to have more of these issues that grow up and become a problem.
Thank you. And in the interest of time, we have one last question, but it's a simple, yeah, you can do yours, yes, you would like a challenge, you may use that. Yes, you get 1 additional minute. You get 1 additional minute.
So I just want to talk about Gorse for just a minute. It's more of a public information item for everyone. So being intimately, having intimate knowledge with Gorse over the last 8 years, I want everyone here to realize how serious our issue is there and how hard we're working to try to fix it. We all see traffic, and that's what everybody talks about. We need to be concerned about public safety, and we all need to be concerned about it. Because the Seattle fault line runs right underneath Gorse. And if we have a seismic environmental issue that arises, it has been scientifically proven that Gorse will fine. You will not get to work. You will not get to the shipyard. Our military is at risk. We cannot get supplies, medical supplies, evacuation off Burns International Airport, which we have an agreement with FEMA, into our communities. So Gorse is more than about traffic. So I just want to be clear on the topic. Talk about transportation all day long. We need to really bring it to a public safety issue. Thank you.
Thank you. So last question. It's a yes or no, and we're going to start with Axel. I believe all of you stated you currently are employed. If you become commissioner, will this be your only paid position in our community? Axel?
Yes.
Thank you. Jack?
Yes.
Thank you. Katie?
Yes.
Thank you. Josh?
Yes.
Thank you. Leonie?
Yes.
Thank you. That concludes the question and answer section of our program today, which brings us to our closing statements. You will each get 2 minutes to tell us why each of our attendees should earn your vote today. We're going to start nearest me with Katie.
Thank you. Thank you, Greater Kitsap Chamber of Commerce, for organizing this forum, and for everyone who's here today, and those who are viewing online or at home. This is really an important part of planning for Kitsap's future, so thank you for being here and being involved with that. I am passionate about fostering and empowering more women leaders in our community, and I decided that this is the best way to do this and to really lead by example. So that's why I'm here. I look forward to using my experience and connections to create solutions to Kitsap's most pressing issues. Together, we will develop community-based solutions for sustainable growth and development that balances our natural environment and our quality of life. To learn a little bit more about me, please visit my website, shameless plug, at katywalters.com, and follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you for your time, and I'd appreciate your vote.
Thank you, Katie. Jeff?
Thank you to the Greater Kitsap Chamber as well, and thank you all for coming here, having breakfast this morning, and actually becoming familiar and educated on what all 5 of us are bringing to the table. I would like to earn your vote because I have the proven background of action and results in elected office. I am definitely not a politician. Ed Wolf at our last Indian burial ceremony was looking for a photo opportunity and he wanted to talk to me, and he's like, "You have to be the worst politician ever," and I think that's probably one of the nicest things he's ever said. So I am action oriented, and I am very much focused on bringing Kitsap development into the future. So we're not having to continually address issues as they come up. We're actually anticipating them and working together as a community to address them before they occur. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I thank you all for coming out today.
Thank you, Jeff. Axel?
Thank you for the opportunity to present today. And I got to say, congratulations to the new Kitsap Chamber of Commerce. Over the years, I've worked tirelessly and I've delivered great results for the success of our entire community. I work with Baker Child as a tool. I'm the only candidate that has experience and proven track record to address the challenges that we all here face today. And they're large. In addition, my relationship working with our neighboring counties gives us the ability to address challenges not only regionally, but also at a state level, which is going to strongly be needed. That leadership and relationship we are going to need before. I bring proven leadership, I bring proven results, and I bring financial responsibility and accountability to the position at a time which is in great need here in Kitsap. As your county commissioner, I'll continue to deliver results, working strategically, effectively, in the best interest of our community and respect the taxpayers part of the role. I thank you and I appreciate your support, and I look forward to serving with you.
Thank you, Axel. Naomi?
First of all, I just want to thank everyone who made it here at 8 o'clock in the morning, really early in the summer, especially if you have kiddos, if they're not in school. Thank you so much for being here. I look for your vote because of the fact that I'm a person who has that lived experience, the education, and the background to be able to tackle these very existential crises that a lot of our community members are facing nowadays. By looking at affordable low-income housing, by investing in public transportation and infrastructure, by adequately funding our social service programs that do great work in our community, like Peninsula Community Health, Kitsap County Health Services, Kitsap Mental Health Services, Planned Parenthood. Those are the organizations that make sure that we have a lively, equitable community where we all have an opportunity to thrive, where we all have an opportunity to reach and attain the American dream that we were all taught from here at Palm Beach that we can attain with hard work and dedication. A vote for me is a vote for the community members that don't have a voice, the community members that experience homelessness, that experience substance abuse, that experience stigmatization because they're humanized for the fact that they are just experiencing life at a different level. A vote for me is for transparent, equitable leadership, and I'm looking forward to being your public servant as the next Kitsap County Commissioner.
Josh?
Well, again, thank you all for coming. Thank you to the chamber for hosting. I believe this: we don't need more taxes or more government involvement. We need higher priorities and better metrics for return on investment. I have a proven track record of both business and nonprofit of bringing real, actionable solutions to big problems. I've worked with homelessness. I've worked in affordable housing. I've been on teams that have brought jobs to communities. An example: 50% of the homeless population in the United States was at one from the foster care system. So some friends and I got together recently through some of the chamber doing called the Kitsap Business Forum, and we developed a pathway for kids coming out of foster care to get jobs in our community with small business owners who live and work here. Those type of solutions actually produce real change long term, because you can't solve a problem based on just addressing what's happening right now. You need to figure out how are people getting into that bucket. Well, if we know 50% of one population will end up in homelessness, Why wouldn't we start attacking that problem today to curb it from being there in the future? I believe we need to invest in leadership, we need education, we need to care for our environment. We have to fund our sheriff department, we have to fund law and order. I'm tired of living in a community that doesn't prioritize that. I don't want to defund the sheriff department, I do want to hold people accountable. And lastly, I think we need more nonprofit leaders who are rising up in the leadership in our community, because they're the ones who learn how to do things on a scrappy budget with real metrics that provide real solutions for the people in our community. And I'm one of those leaders. I want to bring that leadership skill from my business experience and my nonprofit experience to combine it with the public service. I believe that I work for the community. I'm a servant leader. I'm somebody who wants to get other people at the table, because I believe in Kitsap County, we have some of the smartest, most ingenious people I know. Let's bring us together, our community together, to solve the problems and quit having it be an isolated group of individuals doing it on their own. So thank you very much for the opportunity. I look forward to being here with that county commissioner district.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you to all of our candidates today, and thank you for being here. On behalf of the board of the directors for the Greater Kitsap Chamber of Commerce, I would like to invite you back. We're here again next week, July the 13th, for the State District 26 legislature, the state senate race for the 26th, July 13th, followed by July 20th, the House of Representatives for the 26th will be here as well. As you know, we've recently merged the Bremerton and Silver Oak chambers into the Greater Kitsap Chamber, and our mission is to create economic opportunity for all in Kitsap County through business advocacy, workforce education, and collaboration. Eggs and Issues is just one of those forums that we do that. So we're carrying on some of our traditions, Eggs and Issues, through our new chamber, and we hope to have you back. So thank you, and how about a round of applause for all of our candidates.